And I know in my last video I was making a statement out there that it don't pay to try to grow your food in the winter time. So I want to re-clarify what I was meaning by that. Well, finally, guys, I'm going to take y'all in the little greenhouse and see what I was experimenting with before this hard freeze come this last week. I fooled around and didn't get y'all a video of what it looked like before the freeze, but I'm going to go in there and show you what I got going on and what it looks like. So y'all come on in. Guys, it ain't a whole lot in here, but I'm gonna go over what I had going on. I was just trying out some different seeds that I'd ordered. I was wanting to just play around with my little greenhouse here. Things was looking pretty good, and when that freeze come, I have my little diesel heater out here. Well, lo and behold, the very first night that it was gonna get below freezing, I come out here and I fired my little diesel heater up that evening. Everything was supposed to be good, and I got up the next morning and my diesel heater wasn't on. What happened to my diesel heater? I had it full of fuel, but it's running off the battery, and I don't know if some of y'all seen that video. The battery is being solar powered, charging the battery. Well, it'd been cloudy for 2 or 3 days there, and my electric fence was still running off of it. Well, my battery went dead during that night. So when I got up the next morning, the freeze had hit this stuff pretty hard. But now it's done been about 5 or 6 days after the freeze, and some of the things is starting to come back. So I'm gonna just show y'all what I got going on. Well, these two back here in the back, guys, that's top chop collards. That was some new seeds I got, so I said I'm gonna just test me a couple this winter in the greenhouse, just playing around, giving me something to do. You can see this one's coming on pretty good. That one there is kind of struggling. I don't know what the difference is. They in the same soil. When I water them the same thing. When I feed them the same thing. So I don't know why one's doing a lot better than the other one. This next little container here had rainbow chard. Now this container was outside, but before it started getting cold, I brought it in here, and guys, it had nice, actually I done eat off of it one time. And the cold, it was dead the next morning. But you can see these few days, it's putting back out. I don't know about that one on the back, but them's coming back. These 6 pots right here is pak choi. I've never raised pak choi before. Again, I ordered my seeds early for next spring, so I just planted me some up out here. The cold hit them hard that night, but it looks like they're greening back up. And we're gonna just play around with them this winter and see what happens. This right here, the cold hit hard. This is asper broccoli. I seen on looking through the books and seen on some other YouTubers where if you have trouble growing broccoli, time-wise, where your heat gets too hot in the spring too fast or gets too cold in the fall too fast, they say the asperbrock, also known as broccolini. A lot of you eat it in restaurants and stuff, on salad bars. So I planted some seeds up here, and it was coming up, and it was looking so good. But I think it's going to make a little comeback. Like I said, as long as I keep my momentum up and wanting to experiment and play with it. But that's broccolini. Asperock. It's called asperbrock, I think how you pronounce it. Asperbrock or something. Then back here in the back, actually I had some Asian greens planted in there. Well, they was just coming up, and that freeze killed them down, so I pulled them out. And what you see right there is warrior onions that I had started in some little bitty pots. So I just set them out in there. Actually, I just done that a while ago. Y'all seen my video a couple days ago. Y'all know I lost all my onions I had planted, gonna try to overwinter. And the extra ones I had on them onions that I ordered, these is Vidalia variety onions. I put in this pot in here, so that's gonna be the only few that I'm gonna have to try to get going and have an early start for the spring. So you can see I ain't gonna have that many onions for my outside garden. And like I said, I almost lost all this stuff that night the heater went off. This right here is one of the broccolis, my regular broccolis. You can see it just now starting to make a little head. But you can see where the cold hurt it. This here is starting to make a little bitty head. And that right back there is the cauliflower. And it's starting to make a little bitty head. Now guys, these 3 plants, which I did have 4, I cut one of the cauliflowers the other day. It done got about that big around, so I went on and cut it and eat it one night for supper. I think that may have been showed on a video, I can't remember. But these was actually planted in my bed outside. And before the cold weather got in here, I dug them up and put them in these pots. You know, because this was the smallest ones. And I brought them in here to see if I could keep them going. And there's my celery. And you can see, man, that's some beautiful celery. But you can see the cold at night. Just that one night, I don't know what time that heater went off, but it done a little damage to it. Some of them I cut off was really damaged, but some of them I cut off is what we eat a couple nights ago. I'm not really a broccoli eater, but I will cut it up and put it in my soups and stews and cook with it. My wife eats it a little bit. I will eat it some, but I really just ain't no big celery eater. Over here, I have my experiment going on. Ain't really an experiment, but I had some potatoes out of my garden in the house that was sprouting. So I brought some of them out here and put in these little pots, covered them up with soil, and you can see they already coming up. Now, will they make a few potatoes in there this winter? I don't know. And they're starting to bust through. Guys, I just like doing stuff. And up here on top, this here is butterhead lettuce. And the reason these plants looked so good, they were still in the little bitty 6-pack trays sitting on the heat mat. So the cold really didn't hurt them that night when the heater went out, but I just put them in these bigger pots just a few minutes ago. Also, I got 4 more. My little radishes I had in here, I pulled all of them a while ago. The cold really hurt them that night. But they was about nickel size, some of them quarter size. I pulled them all out a while ago. Actually, I ate me some for lunch a few minutes ago, along with my last head of broccoli that I had from my garden that I cut before the freeze. And now I just planted what it was called salad bowl salad mix. I sprinkled some in there. Gonna see if I can have a little lettuce right here through maybe end of January. This right here, I got strawberries. Now I know I showed some of you a while back where I had peeled some strawberries I got from the grocery store, and I had them in here. Well, they done been in here about a month, which I didn't throw them away, guys. I took them outside and outside on the table out there, and I'm thinking I'm gonna leave them out there. They'll go through the winter, and who knows, they might start growing. But I've never been able to get strawberries to start from seeds. So I got some here. They call Shears crops. I don't even remember where I got them seeds from. And then I got some back here that was them seeds that was off of them strawberries that I'd peeled. But now these seeds I actually had put in the refrigerator, and they had been in there for probably about 8 weeks. And I read to where that helps to stratify them. So I planted these, and they've been out here about 3 weeks so far, and they on a heat mat. And I know some people say strawberries can take forever to germinate. I don't know. I'm gonna just leave them out here all winter and see if I can start some strawberries, because I wasted so much money buying strawberry bare roots trying to get them to overwinter. So I decided I'm gonna try this again just to see if I can start some. Another little deal here I'm just playing with is a little tiny Tim tomato. You can see it's sitting on the heat mat so to freeze at night. Even being a tomato, it didn't even damage the little tiny Tim. But that's about all I got in the greenhouse. And there's my little solar powered light. I got a video on that if some of y'all didn't see it. It's a solar powered light. You can set it for different times. How I got it set right now, it comes on at dark and it stays on an extra 3 hours. And then it'll go off. But I got a video on that little solar powered light I put in my greenhouse. If y'all would like to check that video out, I'll attach it above. This year I did purchase this big mat. My wife got me for Christmas. I didn't have no big heat mat, so I got a big heat mat out here. Actually, I got that as an early Christmas gift so I could put it out here. Yeah, I ain't much on Christmas gifts and birthdays. I'm one of them that when you want something or if you need something, you get it, and that's considered part of my gift. But guys, there's the little diesel heater, and I know I show it every time I'm in the greenhouse, but that thing really works well if you got a greenhouse to where you don't have electricity run to it. Now I have an extension cord run out here to mine, which is what's running this heat mat, and it'll run that fan when it needs to kick on, and my other little light down there. But I ain't, I just got an extension cord run out here. I don't have electricity run to mine. So that's diesel heater really works well. And don't use that much fuel. I mean, a little tank on it, I don't know, probably holds a gallon. I've done some videos testing it when I first got it. And I'll try to remember to attach them above, but I think you can run it on low all night long for like a quart or a quart and a half of diesel fuel. And on its lowest setting that night, well, the first night it went off on me, but the second night, the night that it got down to 10 degrees is the night my heater went off. That's why I got the damage in here. The next night it got down into the 20s. Well, that day, the night it got down into 10, the next day it didn't even get above freezing. I turned it on the next day and I had it on its lowest setting. And that night it stayed in the 20s, and I come out here and it was like 45 degrees in here that morning at daylight. So guys, that's what's going on in my little greenhouse. I mentioned I was going to show y'all a little video probably a month ago, 4 weeks ago. And with everything going on, a lot of sicknesses going on, tooth issues, I just ain't felt like making no video or doing nothing, to tell you the truth. But there's your little update on what I got going on in my greenhouse. And I know on my last video I was making a statement out there that it don't pay to try to grow your food in the winter time. And I'm already getting some comments about that statement I made. So I want to re-clarify what I was meaning by that. For me, and I'm speaking for myself and where I live, we don't depend on our garden to eat all the time. My wife works. We humans, we still get pizza from town, and I still eat bologna sandwiches and ham sandwiches and stuff like that. So for an example, what I was meaning is it costs me more to grow something than I can buy it here where I live. I'm going to use these onions for an example. I purchased them onion sets trying to get a head start on overwinter my onions, which is a gamble. I know I'm considered zone 8, but I'm in northeast Louisiana. In this area, it gets colder. It gets hot and it gets colder quicker than it does other parts of zone 8. So it's a gamble when you're going to say, I'm going to plant me some onions and I'm going to overwinter them. For what I spend on them onion sets, I could probably buy the onions that we eat, I'd almost say a year. Now I know price of food's going up and stuff, but still when I'm considering prices, I ain't talking about just the price of buying them onion sets. I'm talking about watering them. I'm talking about fertilizing them. I'm talking about if like row cover, frost cover to cover them with to try to protect them. I'm talking about everything that's involved in growing that. Is what I mean by I can buy them onions, as many onions as we gonna eat in a year. I could go purchase them from the local corner market in local places. And that's what I was getting at, guys. I know you can raise food cheaper than you can buy it once you get set up. But when I'm talking about growing something in the price, I'm talking about price of everything, including like buying a heat mat. To me, when you talk about money and what you doing, you got to involve everything. We ain't talking about just the price for a pack of seeds. We ain't talking about just the price for a bag of potting mix. I'm talking about everything you got involved. Your electricity, your water bill, fertilize, row cover. I mean, even this little mini greenhouse here. Yeah, I do all this stuff because I like doing it. It gives me something to do. But for what I've spent, and y'all can see, my stuff is plain Jane poor boy style made. But for what I've spent in the last 3 years, just getting my beds and getting my little garden in the way I want it, ground covered, and I got some little drip irrigation. For what I've spent in the last 3 years, I could buy everything I've grown for probably the next 15 years. Cause like I said, where I live at, if I want tomatoes to go can, there's people around here that farm tomatoes that you can go down the road and buy 5 gallon when tomato season. You can buy 5, 10, 15 gallon buckets, whatever you want to can your tomatoes. Well, there's no way I can raise tomatoes. Just say if I want 5 gallon buckets of tomatoes to can, it's no way I can raise them for what I can go up here to this lady, or it's several places you can buy tomatoes locally. It's no way I can raise them tomatoes for what I can go purchase them tomatoes for. Now, yes, I think everybody needs to know how to grow their food, because the little COVID thing here the last couple of years, I think that put a little scare in some people, made them realize, yeah, it could get to where you can't get some food one day and you may need to grow it. So it is a good feeling knowing you can, but the main thing I do it is because I like to, and it's something at my age now, and I like doing it. It's my hobby, I guess you would call it. But again, I just wanted to clarify that, because I know there's a lot of them out there that when you make a statement you can't grow food cheaper than you can buy it, they ain't really taking into all the considerations of everything and your location. I know there's some locations where y'all don't have the markets available like we do around here where I live. But guys, anyway, hope y'all have a great day and a blessed week. God bless. See y'all next time.